And we need to all be here, right? So we can.
Okay, can we start? Okay, good evening everyone. My name is Prashadi and I have a very small task this evening, which is to welcome you all on behalf of SWOP, the Society Work and Politics Institute at WITS. We have historically been guided in our work by the slogan you see here, trying to make sense of the making and unmaking of social order. But over the last year, we've also started a new seminar series looking at alternatives to capitalism and comparative research methodologies, and we're very grateful to ILRIG, in particular Dale, for approaching us to co-host tonight. And tonight we'd like to see as SWOP the first of our activist forums. Often in a university situation we tend to isolate ourselves from the world, whereas we're also trying to reach out beyond academia. And we hope that tonight will be a learning experience and an exchange of ideas and a way of generating knowledge production through engagement like this. So I hope that we have a really interesting discussion tonight, but more importantly I hope to learn from the comrades from Rojava. And I'm going to hand over now to Dale to chair the session and to do a little introduction.
Thanks, Prashadi, and thank you to everybody for making time to come this evening. I was just talking with a few comrades beforehand, and I was saying that it's amazing. I've just spent the last 3 days with the comrades here from Rojava and Northern Syria, and it's been hugely inspiring. Every South African activist, every progressive should be paying attention to what is going on in Rojava. It is an amazing experiment and huge. It's almost unbelievable the kinds of sacrifices and the kinds of commitment that have been shown under conditions of war as well, a full-scale war, and what the comrades there have been able to achieve. And it is an absolute pleasure for us as ILRIG in particular to have been able to co-host this tour. This is the first stop, Johannesburg. We've had already 3 sessions in the last 2 days. This is the last one. And then the comrades will be moving to Durban, and then they'll go to Cape Town, and then finally to Makanda, to the university formerly known as Rhodes, where they will end up. And it is going to, I think tonight, hopefully you're going to hear a lot of very interesting things about what is being, a little bit of the history of the region and the struggles, but also a lot of what is being done there and how this model of democratic confederalism and the bottom-up approach that is so fundamentally important is being practiced. I just wanted to, before I introduce the comrades specifically and allow them to take over, I wanted to just have a few framing comments because I think there are a few issues that the reason, if you look at our little, unfortunately we didn't have enough copies to give out to everybody, but we've produced as a little pamphlet thanks to Sean, who basically asked the question, so what does this mean for South Africa? And I would argue that there's 3 particular areas that are fundamentally important for us, which is 1, our conception of democracy, the way we understand democracy and the system, and the way the experimentation with the different forms of democracy and the bottom-up approach, things that in some ways were practiced here during the 1980s and the 70s to a certain extent with street committees, and communities and these things, but have been lost in this pursuit of institutional power and otherwise. The second one is the state. What is the state, the role of the state, whether or not it is the role of leftists and progressives and others. The dominant approach of South African politics and revolutionary politics has been to capture the state, and has been through political parties to then capture the state and use the state to then transform society. Comrades here have gone about it completely differently. In fact, the state does not even exist in Rojava in the sense of a nation state. It's a totally different kind of configuration of power, which is fascinating in the context of a people's power that we used to talk about a lot, but I think have forgotten a great deal about. And that's the second aspect of the debate and the discussion that I think is fundamental. And the third one is the economic relations and how we go about establishing a people's economy. An economy that, and social relations, actually, economic and social relations, an economy that is empowering to those that are at the base, ordinary people, that is not controlled, where there are not capitalist corporations running the show, where capital is not owned by a few, where land is not owned by a few people, but it's not owned by the state either. It's people's property. And this sense of a socialized economy, not a nationalized economy, but a socialized economy, which is a fundamentally different kind of conception that I think has dominated our debate and our discourse here amongst left and progressives. And then there is a fourth one that is fundamental, which is the role of women in particular in this revolution, and the centrality of women at front and center. There's a saying that that the Rojava comrades have, which is at the forefront of many of their slogans and other, which is, the revolution without women at the center is no revolution at all. And when you listen to Rohash, and when you start listening and the way in which this has been done, it is amazing. We are so far behind. We have so much catching up to do and so much learning to do about what has been achieved and how this can be done. And so it is with huge pleasure and a sense of excitement and expectation, I think, that I introduce the comrades here who've come a long way. And it's their first visit to this side of the world as well. So they've been enjoying looking and finding out a bit about South Africa and particularly Johannesburg. Ercan, you're going to go first? Okay. So Ercan, Comrade Ercan is originally and from what is called Northern Kurdistan, which is Turkish, in Turkey. Most of the Kurds who live in southern part of Turkey and southeastern part of Turkey, over 20 million Kurds living there, and the history will be given, but Ercan is from that area. And Comrade Rohash, who will follow up, is actually from Rojava, which is southern Kurdistan, and those Kurds that live in northern Syria. And then, of course, there's Kurdish populations in Iraq, and there's Kurdish populations in Iran as well, besides those two. And the comrades have been involved, I think, almost their entire lives, or at least most of their adult lives, in the struggle in one form or another, and have sacrificed a huge amount and have a great deal to tell us. So without any further ado, let me welcome you warmly, and we look forward to hearing from you. Ercan?
Hello to all of you. It's a big pleasure to be here with you in South Africa. I would like to greet you in my mother tongue. It is Rohash and means just good day, but it has also political meaning, which came up with a freedom struggle over the last decades. The Kurdish language was forbidden by the Turkish state and the Iraqi, Iranian, Syrian state. With the language, the identity was forbidden, and the states tried to assimilate the population. Kurdistan has been divided by the four states after the First World War into four states. The most are in Turkey, and you see here a map. I might give a short introduction, very short, about the Kurds. I know you have heard about them. there are some characteristics. They live along mountain ranges, which go just from here to there, and the mountains are high. There are some plains, of course. In the south, there's these areas, Mesopotamia, with the two big rivers, Euphrates and Tigris. And to the north and east, we have higher plateaus and so forth. There was an opportunity to have a Kurdish state in the First World War, but it didn't work, and then the colonialist powers, UK and France, divided into totally four states. Four nation states, which became very early repressive. They succeeded in oppressing and assimilating Kurds to a certain level until the 60s, 70s. There was not much resistance, except in Iraq, where it was a bit more. But in general, the Kurds were not discussed internationally or so, or even on regional level, there were not any players. Anyway, the 70s has changed. All over Kurdistan, parties have been founded in organizations, mainly by students, impacted by the 68 movements. There were many, but one was important to understand the situation today, and especially the revolution of Rojava and the progress in North Turkish Kurdistan. It is the Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, which has been founded in '78. It has a very proletarian character and was looking very fast to organize a struggle. In 1980 was a military coup, then PKK started in the 80s, the armed struggle. In Iraq and Iran there were already armed struggles. PKK succeeded in beginning of 90s to become a mass movement. So first time millions of people started to support. And then Turkey couldn't anymore say there are no Kurds anymore. When I was a small child, it was absolutely forbidden to speak Kurdish, or to say even Kurds. Anyway, so while in Turkey the Turkish left became weaker, the Kurdish freedom movement, which is an expression for a broader movement more than PKK, the leftist democratic one, became stronger. At the same time, PKK and affiliated people, organizations in Rojava, Syria, started to get organized. It was the 80s. Many people from Rojava joined the struggle in Turkish Kurdistan. So in the 90s was a very hard time in North Kurdistan. So it was a very intensive war between the Turkish state and the guerrilla of PKK and the Kurdish population. There was a certain balance. The Kurds were not able to liberate territories and to create the aimed, united, socialist Kurdistan. But the Turkish state was also not able to defeat the movement. It went until 1999. 99, very shortly, there was international plot. It was led by the CIA, Turkey is a NATO state, and the plot targeted the leader of PKK and the most important leader, Abdullah Öcalan. You see a picture of him. He was at that time in Syria and Rojava. He was working from there, and yes, and he was a political leader, organization leader, and also ideological leader. His personality is still important for us, very important. Yes, he has been kidnapped and given to Turkey by the CIA and other states, and then started a new process. I mean, we had a process where the Kurdish freedom movement, especially Öcalan, said we have to start a new process where we have to rethink, criticize our practice. We must find a way of organizing ourselves more democratically, and we must think about our goals and our ideology. PKK has been founded as a Marxist-Leninist national liberation movement, impacted by many movements around the world, also ANC, Vietnam, and so on. From the prison, Rojava, he was the key to start these discussions. Then we had a process of 6 years intensive discussion. Actually, it continued. Which way we go and how. It was not easy because Kurds were fixed more on having a national armed state. PKK, especially Öcalan, said we have to, not to request an armed state, a nation state, which would reproduce nationalism and power hierarchy. It can be a trap for us, and we must seek for solutions which could be long-lasting for us and the people around us. Because the freedom of the Kurds is connected to democracy in the 4 states where the Kurds live, meaning to Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. We need to have broad democratic coalitions in these 4 states. We must set up them. Actually, there were relations, but we must strengthen them and to change the political climate in all these 4 states. This was a big discussion. And the Kurdish freedom movement, and especially North Kurdistan, Rojava, was at that moment a mass movement. So a transformation started, with the goals and ideology. And we looked to the past in Soviet Union and the so-called real socialist states, why it failed, to be sincere, not to say just imperialist, economically or whatever else. We looked also to the Spanish Revolution. We analyzed it, and here we have to know that the Soviet Union or China, all these socialist states were never interested to work with the Kurds. Also, especially the Turkish Kurds were fighting in NATO state. So the Kurds were out of this whole political system. Anyway, so PKK started actually around 90 intensive critique of the socialist structures without to become a social democratic party. We looked also to the new movement at that time, the movements which criticized globalization, the capitalist one. We looked to the Zapatistas and new forms of how people around the world started to organize or what they discussed. International thinkers were important for us, different types, we read a lot. There are some names I want to mention. They are important. It's the US neo-anarchist Murray Bookchin, the thinker Immanuel Wallerstein, Brodel, Foucault, and so on. These people were important. I remember we read and discussed, thousands of activists started also to read them. And we looked to our past, and we to the past of the revolution struggle, and said what we didn't do well or correct. Why? Because the Kurds were not, in Turkey at least, not all were supporting the freedom struggle, not more than the half. The other half was still in distance. Anyway, so all these discussions came to a new political concept, which we call democratic confederalism. It bases on 3 pillars, and these 3 pillars are the basis also of our work today. It is radical democracy, going beyond parliamentarism and the democracy which only bases on elections. every 4 years. We understand democracy as a process, as a state situation where the broad population is involved in discussion and decisions, involvement, direct involvement. That means to reorganize society from bottom up, decrease, limit hierarchy as much as possible. Communes are a key element, communes and people's councils, people's assemblies. They must be strategic. Yeah, the second point is gender liberation, especially the women liberation. We consider it as a main contradiction, what they mentioned it. It became a crucial element of all the political work, and actually the big discussion about the liberation of women started already in the 90s. The women, the PKK, the Kurdish freedom movement, and the structures, they formed their autonomous structures already in the 90s, politically, socially, also in the guerrilla. So there was already a lot of discussions when we came to this point. Yes, the third point is ecology, a society which is ecological, means defending the nature, but at the same time reorganizing the economy in a way of solidarity, which ensures this. Anyway, so these are the three basic pillars. Democratic confederalism, we call it. The body, which, the concrete body, we call democratic autonomy. The word autonomy exists for a long time, and autonomous structures all around the world happen. And there's a lot of discussion, but we said not only autonomy, democratic autonomy is for us important. We looked also to South Kurdistan, the Iraqi part, because since 2003, the Kurds there have autonomy. But what they have, they reproduce a nation-state idea. There are elections, there are some liberties, but not much. There's an elite which takes all the money which comes from oil, and it's a corrupted system. And anyway, this is not what we want, of course, and the patriarchal system. Anyway, the democratic autonomy can be different in each region. We speak about regions, not about states. A state can have 4 or 5, I don't know, many regions. A region can be big, small. This depends on the people, where they are, the political structures on the ground. Less state, more society is, in this sense, a parallel which we use a lot. To abolish the state completely, this is our wish, but how, this will show the practice. Last but not least, there's another word which we used also. It is a democratic nation, so democratic confederalism, democratic autonomy, and now democratic nation. This came later, around 2010, and with these discussions about democratic nation, the concept became more deeper, more profounder. Yes, and it's also occupying the word nation from a new perspective, not to reproduce the nation states or the nation idea which we have all around the world. It says we don't reject the nation. We don't say, like some say, kick out, smash, fuck nation. No, we don't do it. We say nation must be considered new. It is not limited to state borders. Nation, of course, it's connected to a certain territory, but it's more connected to a mentality, an approach. So not only people from a certain region form one nation. A nation can be over the borders. So in the case of Kurds, the Kurds are developing or are a kind of nation. But the Kurds in the 4 different states, they can belong also to a democratic nation of Turkey or Syria. This is also possible. So this is what we discuss. with a new approach. Yes, so much for me now, let's say, for the background. Now I would like to give the word to Rohash, and she will speak about Rojava and women's liberation and much more other things. Maybe later I will take the word again. Anyway, thank you for listening.
Hello to all you to coming to attend this event. Thank you very much. And in the beginning, I would like to thank the committee organization to invite us to South Africa. The place and the people in this area was and are able to resist for their freedom. Absolutely, I'm very pleased to be here, and I believe will be a correlation between the system of people of South Africa and Kurdish people. Of course, there is and will be. My friend talked about history and how democratic nation we worked on general, how they come out. And now I don't like to talk about democratic nation theories because I think many of you know very well, and we discuss very well, but how to practice the problem is coming, and we facing the practice. And I would like now to talk about how we practice the democratic nation in our area or our region in Rojava. Because I'm from Rojava, I'm going to talk about Rojava. Rojava is the smallest part from Kurdistan in Syria. They live more than 3 million people, Kurds, in that area. The geography of Rojava is not like the other part of Kurdistan, like Turkey and Iraq and Iran. Syria, Kurdistan of Syria, geography is very difficult because it's divided to 3 parts. Between every part or city and other cities, there is Arabic or geography of Syria. I will to show first. We go to map and I will to show where is the Kurds living in Rojava or in northern Syria. This is a Syrian map. This is Syria map. The Kurds general living in this area, they call him Jazire, and they living in this area, they call him Kobani. Maybe many of you heard about Kobani. And this area they living is called Afrin, and Afrin now occupied from Turkey. Between Afrin and Kobani there is Arabic city, they call it Azaz Jarablos, now under Turkey and some Islamic groups, and now there is Serekani and Giresufi between this area. I will show after, but they divide Kobani and Jazire, Giresufi, or in Arabic they call him Tel Abyad. They divide the area to 3 parts of the Kurdish area. Maybe many of you know what happened in the Middle East 2011. In 2011, in Middle East is many countries rise up and they try to change the systems of the country. Because in the Middle East there is many state problem. The state is going by one person, the leader of that country. The general, the people living in that area, they don't have any voice to showing the systems we are live in this country. They are rising up. The result of the rising up, they call it Arab Spring. Arab Spring, of course, is affect Syria too, because Syria is an Arabic country. But before I explain more about Syria, I want to say, general, the Kurds live in Syria is not like a Kurd. They not anyone knows there is living Kurds in that country, because they just we saying Syrian Arab Republic. They using Arab word. Not anyone discuss the Kurd or if there is Kurd living in that area or not. Everything was banned. We struggled a long time. We have many people, many friends. They stay in Syrian prison until now. Many of them, we don't know about anything about them. Still losing in prison. We try to research or ask or sending lawyer, but the system of Syria, they never accept a lawyer or someone ask about who in the prison. Because of that, when the Arab Spring started, direct Syrian general, the people living in Syria rise up and they make many demonstrations every Friday. But this demonstration in short time is changed to different position. Because when it started this demonstration or uprising, it wasn't organized and they don't have clear ideologies, what they need. In short time they changed it to groups, small groups fighting each other. But the Kurdish situation in Syria, it was completely different. The Kurdish situation in Rojava, we chose it the third way. And especially in Rojava, we, in the Kurdish area, doesn't just living the Kurds in that area. We live with Arabs, Assyrians, Chaldeans, Turkmen. We all living from long time, 100,000 years together. Of course, we try to live in peace, but the system of regimes, they didn't leave that to be a peace in that area. And the system is going just by one person. They call it Bashar al-Assad. Maybe many of you heard about Bashar al-Assad. And Bashar al-Assad in same time was leading the main party in the Syria, the party called Ba'ath Party. And in same time there was just two newspapers, one is for Ba'ath Party and one for System of Government, and we just have one TV station, one radio station, all under regime or Assad family's control. And when we try to rise up or we say we are Kurds, of course we facing facing many. They try to stress and put in present. My English is not like that, sorry, but I hope you are understanding. Like I told it, Rojava is a multi-ethnic and multicultural society. We live all together. And why I say we choose it the third way, because one way it was Bashar al-Assad way, fascist systems, and try to control everything. Other groups, it was in short time is changed to different groups, some to radical Islam, some for their power. They don't have any organization or ideologies. But when we started with ideology. The ideology we follow it is democratic national ideologies. Democratic national ideologies is coming from where? Of course, doesn't come 2011. We worked like a Kurd from long time ago, but illegal in Syria. Not anyone heard about the Kurd in Syria, but we started to organize ourselves. We changed Rojava, every family in Rojava, to be an academy, to giving a knowledge. We knocked every door in Rojava. Of course, it was very illegal. We tried to be very security. When we entering one house, before that, we try to be looking around and making a good security, and then we entering. From day after day, when we try to organize a family, and of course, first person in the family is woman. When you organize a woman, you can organize the whole society. Woman is growing up the children and educate the children. When woman, you organize a woman, you organize all family. And when you organize, of course, all family, you organize all your society. And when we organize a family, we start from family, we move it to making a small groups in every street. And we giving knowledge, not just we giving, of course, we taking too. And when we taking, we analyze this and we discuss. In the result, we go new plan, new ideas, and working like that. And when the revolution started, directly the ground was ready to build a democratic nation. And the Kurds in Rojava, when we started, it was about 1918. When Abdullah Öcalan crossed board from Turkey to Syria. When he crossed the board, we like wake up, we like rest up, we know what we needed. And from that time we started. The idea is coming from 18 in Rojava, and we continue. Of course, in all this stage, the woman was very important in our struggle and resistance, and always woman not just was next to man, sometimes leading a man too. And after that we can be, when revolution started, the revolution changed from revolution to woman revolution, Rojava revolution to woman revolution. Before I'm going to other part, I want to show a short video. The video is showing what we worked on and how was our Emma, I think is working, in this revolution. It is working. To women movement in Rojava. How we started women movement in Rojava and why we call it Rojava revolution is women revolution. When we started, we take for ourselves a slogan. The slogan revolution that calls to liberate women is not a revolution. And same, if we don't organize a woman, that organization is not legitimate organization. Because of that, we started everywhere to organize a woman. When we organize, of course, how we worked and how women to be in every place. Because in Rojava, when we look into women taking in not just society, in same time, is taking a place to defend the area and themselves. And we started to change some rules in the system that BAS was following. We worked in democratic system. In democratic nations, the important thing to make equality between man and woman, and to be woman represent themselves. We make a co-chair system. Co-chair system, one man, one woman should be working together, because everywhere women need to represent themselves. If there is not woman in one place, we can say that area is democratic systems, should be women too, and shouldn't be the system going by one person, like one leader. We should make a coordinate between man and woman, and we make co-chair. This one, co-chair of a political parties. They call it PYD, Democratic Union Party. We make this party 2003. And is one and women's working together, not just in political parties, in same times in all committee or assembly, everywhere in the system. In Rojava, we make a co-chair systems to be represent a woman. Of course, it wasn't easy. It was very difficult to be woman everywhere. And the man cannot vote for women. To protect women and to be voiced, we told it because the woman represent woman in that place she is working, shouldn't man vote for a woman to come to this place or this to work? The woman voting only by woman. And if man doesn't accept, we giving vote to man, but man can't give to us. If we refuse a man, that man can't be in that position, but he can't refuse woman. We know everyone, sorry, there is many our friends men here, but when we say man, always we remember power and economy and to be always proud. But woman, when we say woman, we remember ecology, we remember environment protect, we remember equality. Not I'm saying that, the history is saying that. And we worked like that. To organize ourselves, more organization, of course. We make Rojava Women's Democratic Organization. This organization is called Congresstar. Congresstar is Confederation of Women Organization in Rojava. Of course, based on a democratic ecology, women's liberation paradigm. And Congresstar aim for equal and to represent everywhere and to make ecological society. We work like general to communal social life. How we organize this Congresstar? Not we coming from up to down, of course. We started from down. We started with cummins. We make in every street cummins. And from cummins, we go to assembly. And cummins and assemblies isn't enough to build a society. We started make a committee. We have 10 committee, political committee, economy, social committee, counseling and ecology committee, self-defense committee. We, of course, press committee, cultural committee. We built 10 committee next to committee and assembly. And to connect between all this system of organization should be every member of committee in her area they living to be a member of committee too, in coming to linking each other. When I talked about like a politics or economy or education, I didn't talk about mentality of capitalism. When I'm talking about press media, we have Jin TV or Woman TV or radio, magazine, newspaper. We giving women knowledge in democratic confederation systems, and by this media and press, we educate this society. In the other economy, how we work with economy, we make many women cooperative. There is huge land government was putting under their control, especially after 1963. In 1963, the Syrians take from nearly 300,000 Kurds identity. They try to send to different place, and this all land was under regimes or government control. When we make a revolution, we take these lands and we give it to people doesn't have land, not to one person. No, we give it to a group working together like a cooperative and to looking after their life. And when I'm talking about council, we have same committee in council. When we and in same time we have co-chair systems in council, but we make a special committee in council like a woman to protect ecology, to make a Rojava green again, to make many projects to protect this system. Because of that, we make woman committee council committee and working with a council. In the same time, we have representative of women in that area. The other important thing I would like to highlight academies. Academies is very, very important in every organization, because academy make you renew always your ideas, and if there is any point, they make lighting that point and helping us to analyze our practice, what we have done and how we can continue. If we can't analyze our practice, we can't make a plan for future too or for tomorrow too. Because of that, critical, self-critical in our system is very important. Not just in between like activities or one group or between a party member. No, in all society, everywhere we using critical and self-critical. Not just, and we try to follow each other. If the critical in our mentality. Critical is we using to renew yourself. Is way to help each other. We helping with critical each other, and we continue like that. Because of that, the academy is like education for us. And this in academy, we give woman knowledge, woman history, woman and law, woman and how to living, woman and ecology, how to protect themselves, woman defense. We take all sides of woman and we discussing and we analyze and we try step by step going better and better. The result of this practice, we try to make a genealogy. Genealogy is woman knowledge. And now we working on that ideologies and we try to getting better and better because the knowledge doesn't have board and same the democratic nation doesn't have. We should always continue and discuss it and practice. We learning from our practice, not and the practice and if we can't connect between theories and practice, we can't continue. And that if we couldn't connect in that we can say is that democratic because they will day after day going back and changing to different system like many countries try to build a democratic. We say, oh, this party going to represent me. No, not anyone can represent us. We're going to present ourselves. If we couldn't, not anyone can present me. There is ideology, there is a theories. We should to work on this. We should to build this society. And in Rojava, women not just build a society. In same time, we define ourselves. We never like to fight, but the situation where we were, we should to defend ourselves. If we didn't defend ourselves, there is Shangal, a big example in front of us. Maybe many of you know what happened in Shangal. More than 5,000 women sell in market in Mosul. Many of Shangal women, they ripped from ISIS 23 times a day just. To protect ourselves and to not be woman in Kurdistan of Iraq like Yazidi woman or Arabs woman in Mosul, we decide to protect ourselves. But how we protect ourselves? Of course, with a knowledge. If we didn't got a knowledge, we couldn't protect ourselves in front the unhumanitarian groups, they call it ISIS, Daesh. We first, before we take a weapon, we started to educate ourselves. And then we started to defend ourselves. We defend the land we're living in, the geography we're living on, and we defend our people and ourselves like a woman too. We didn't work after, especially after Kobani struggle, because the woman struggle, everyone heard about maybe in Kobani in 2014 and 15. In 14 and 15, when the struggle of women came, many people or many countries, they thought, oh, the Kurd just, they know how to fight. But when we build the society, in many revolutions, in general, when attack is coming, all society try to how we going to protect ourselves. And everyone say, okay, now we will go to protect ourselves, but after that we're going to build society. But we didn't done that. We tried to build both together, society and define ourselves. There is a group defined the people and the geography we living on, and there is a systems going to build and try to grow up and grow up. Because of that, because we started from ground, not up. If we started from up, everyone say, oh, okay, I'm going to just fight and protect this geography, and then I will make a business. But we're building the systems, because the Kurdish woman can be a hope, not just for Kurdish women, in the same time for Arab women. In Raqqa, in Mandej, is cities of Arabs, not Kurds. In Gresby, in many different, in the resort, the woman, Kurdish woman against ISIS in all areas. And in other, we have like a Congress there, we have many projects like a Jinwar project. Jinwar, a woman ecology project, village. We try to give a symbol, we can rebuild again ecology and work together. Maybe the time is running, I will try to. And I would to tell about a little bit about Afrin. Afrin is my city. It's a small area, 40 kilometers. They live around 700 people. But after Syrian attacked some area in Syria, like Aleppo, Hama, Shahba, there is many refugee camp replacement in Afrin, around 300 or more, 300,000 of course. And it was the first peaceful city in general Syria from 11 until 18. And it was they changed many positive things in the city, but the Turkish state in 20 January of 2018 bombed the city and the village around the city. There is many civilians killed. In these times, of course, more than 4 years, we try to defend our area and we protect the people they living. We give it more than 12,000 martyrs, not just Kurds, Arab, Assyrian, and there is many internationals too, nearly 50 martyrs from international, and there is 23 wounded we give it. But Turkey doesn't stop just in Afrin. They, under safe zone, they try to occupy all northern Syria. The plan of Turkey was this area all from Afrin to Kurdistan of Iraq, 33 kilometers, included all city of Kurds, Qamushlu, Kobani, Afrin, everywhere. But now Turkey occupy, now is in Tel Abyad and Serikani. Turkish aggression, of course, it was 9 October under establishing safe zone. But the true aim of Turkey, it was demographic changing, ethnic cleaning, attacked the system we established, democratic federation, and direct it was attacked on the woman revolution. The aim of Turkey, it was that, and the result of this attack, they attacked many cities. This photo is showing Serikani. Now, these two areas, Ras Al-Ain, Serikani, and Grecipi, not just Turkey there, was an Islamic group, and still attack continue in that area. Turkey doesn't just attack the city, and in same time killed many women, and one of them, Habrin Khalaf, she was political woman leading a Syrian Future Party. She never held a weapon, always was in political, she was political activity, but when she was moving from Raqqa to Ain Issa, but they stopped her and not just killed her, they played in her body too. That is an Islamic group working with Turkey. And other thing for Turkey, it was ISIS camp. There is many camp in northern Syria. Whole camp, maybe you heard about Rosh camp, Shaddade camp. There is many Mabruka camp. Whole camp, they living huge number of ISIS families. There is more than 12 imprisoned from ISIS radical. The aim of Turkey to using this ISIS in front of Europe, not just refugee, in same ISIS too. There is many points we going to talk, but I think we don't have time. I try to make it short, but this one I know is difficult to make short. I hope you understand my English. But before I ending, there is short video. Yeah, maybe a little bit is difficult to watching, but is it true? That happened in the area we live in northern Syria, is showing the Turkey invasion in northern Syria.
Actually, there are many aspects about which we can still speak. I didn't speak, for example, about the practice in North Kurdistan, Turkish Kurdistan, after the development of the Kurdish the concept of democratic confederalism. I would like to just mention, wait a moment, one aspect. It is about the one about mention just some points, complete picture of Rojava. About education, I can say that one first thing was to teach the people, the Kurds in Kurdish. They could speak but not write. It was forbidden. Then an important step was to change the curriculum in order to reform basically the education system. And with the old education system, which is hierarchical, patriarchal, and authoritarian, the new society cannot be created. This new curriculums have been done not only for the Kurdish language, also for the Arabic and the Assyrian. New universities has been founded, while the others are continuing. This is a picture of new books for the primary schools which have been created. Within very few years, a new education system has been set up. And many things have gone very fast, but there was a push for it. Education, important, is not only schools and university. We give a very focus on academies, where it's popular education. Rohash mentioned it. About the healthcare, very early health councils have been founded from doctors, nurseries, all the people, including very broad parts of society. The revolutionaries were able, after the liberation 2012. So even people from other political backgrounds joined it. And they managed to improve the health system after 3-4 years. The first years were very problematic, especially with the basic, even with the basic medicine. And meanwhile, the services are for almost free. And important is the service, the health stations are spread in the territory. This is a very crucial issue so that everybody has access. Some words about the justice system. The first thing which has been done is to have a new social contract. We don't say constitution. A process of discussion in the broader society has been initiated. The first one was in 2013-14, the second one in 2016-17. Yes, I mean, many parts of the society joined, even meetings in each neighborhood has been done. Big discussion over 8 months have been taken to form a social contract which includes all groups, social, cultural groups in the society. It is quite successful. It is today not much discussed by the population because it gives the space. The last area I would like to speak is about economy, because there are a lot of questions to build up a new society. First, economic issues are also very critical. Syria was never a strong economic state, but they were able to reorganize the whole agriculture with a monoculture. So in Rojava there was produced mainly wheat, cotton and olives and nothing else, no other fruits and vegetables. This destroyed the agricultural and biodiversity. And we see a picture, this is typical for Rojava, very flat except Afrin, and we have also some oil. 30% of Syrian oil is in Rojava, the other 40-50% is in East Syria, which is also liberated by the Syrian Democratic Forces. The Syrian Democratic Forces defend the territory of northeast Syria, which is the free territory. And the YPG and YPJ, you see here the flags, they are part of it. Anyway, oil, there's a lot of oil, but in Rojava especially there was no industry, because all the oil, wheat, or olives also have been sent to other places to be processed. So it was quite a very deindustrialized society, and with no much high classes, not very rich people. Such a situation we had, and the Kurds there were the poorest of the Syrian state. And 1 million or more were working in the big cities like Aleppo and Damascus. Yeah, I mean, the limitations, the conditions were very bad. The centralized capitalist economy. Of course, we have a war, ongoing war, which takes most of your resources. And there's an embargo by all the states and powers around yourself. Currently, Turkey has a full embargo, and the others, the Syrian state and the Iraqi government and the Iraqi Kurdistan region, they have a kind of controlled embargo. They only allow consumer goods and not facilities, machines with which production can be done. And there's also water crisis, which is a result of the climate change, but especially of the water policy of the Syrian state. Yes, the aim is to create, if we consider all the political concept, is to have a kind of democratic and communal economy. An economy which is controlled by the democratic new structures, communes, councils, and the social movements, but also an economy which starts from the communes, not the states, the upper structure should dominate the economy, should nationalize, socializing, as they describe it in a good way. I mean, so in this sense, many cooperatives are initiated. This process is a slow process. We have almost 200. Cooperatives don't cover the majority of the economy. It's not the case. But they are supported by the political structures, and not big companies are supported financially. This is the difference. So the structures say we must develop this economy of solidarity. And we have also public economy, means oil economy and some transportation and other stuff has been taken over by the political structures. And we have a private economy, a capitalist economy, but the capitalists, I mean, there are small shop owners, some tradespeople are big, but not very huge. And so there's a three forms of economy in Rojava currently. So the struggle is to bring people that they develop cooperative solidarity ways of economy, so that this is a long-lasting economy. Of course, we have the experience of, as said, from Soviet Union and the state economy, and we don't want this. And capitalist economy, of course, we refuse it. This is more or less what I can say. The economy area is interesting, and it's the last point, is the decisions in the economy area are taken by 5 sub-sectors. I mean, representatives from trade, from farmers, and from the industry are involved. There are organizations and unions, professional organizations, but also cooperatives and the women economy. All the 5 come together and discuss, and the proposals are brought to the general people's assemblies and councils. So there's this comes from an inclusive perspective, not one part of society can dominate over the other one. So that there must be a balance, a real balance. Economy where a political structure where not one group can lobby and buy political decision makers. Anyway, so here we see pictures how a self-sufficient economy is built. First time the people produced after decades their own fertilizer again. The control of seed is an issue. The own seed increase, there's an increasing vegetable production again, a significant one. Here you see a greenhouse, but also in the villages, many things are done. Electricity is a big problem because big power stations are destroyed or they're outside of Rojava. Because of the embargo, it's almost impossible to repair the most. There are 2-3 dams under the control. Now they give some electricity, but in many regions still we have the diesel generators. Anyway, so here are pictures from the cooperatives. So to have a view, they are very small. It was a textile, this is a bakery. So very simple methods, means they try to establish the cooperatives. This is a milk product cooperative. Several women have initiated it. Some are in the cities, but the most are in the rural areas. Rohash mentioned state lands, which is now given to the people who form cooperatives. This is one of them. We could visit it, and there are, I said, many of them now spreading around. This brings also a change of mentality in the way of economy, getting away from capitalist economy mentality in the economy to a social mentality. Yes, I think at this point, yes, we have also unions. This was not the case. Syria, that was state-owned unions. Now with a new situation, new forms of economy, we have also unions. Yes, I jump because we're running out of time, and here are some links to get more information. There are links in English. There's much more you can read. We hope that we could give an impact. to get informed about a very important revolutionary project nowadays. Rojava and other parts of North Syria are free of the state, and where people try really to develop, implement an alternative society under very difficult situations. I'm sure you have questions and need to discuss. Yes, and at this point we step now back. The word is yours.
Thanks, comrades, and sorry for trying. I know that we could spend another 2 hours going through. I know you've got a lot more slides and a lot more information. We're trying to compress a lot into a small period of time. And I think the comrades have done a very good job of that, providing some history, the key elements of the revolution, and particularly the role of women's organization and struggle and structures. So now we're going to open it up. And we'll take a number of, please keep your questions and comments short and to the point, and then we'll take a few and allow the comrades to respond, and then we'll see how far we can go with that. Okay, I'll start on this side. 1, okay, I'm going to just number you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll start with those 4. Go ahead. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Monobo. I'm from West Blue. My question is more based on the 3 pillars that was mentioned, which is radical, and the second one being liberation of women, and the third one being equality. So on liberation of women, I believe liberation to select them, it means freedom from limits. And in most instances, you find that most organizations claim to liberate women only to find that they deputize them, and to a certain extent that limits their full potential. And my question to you would be: don't you think that is partial liberation in most instances, and that most men are not necessarily in the interest of women liberation? Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
I think let me just try to paraphrase the question, which was basically that there's a lot of experiences where organizations profess to support women's liberation, and yet it's always constantly not the case, where men are basically representing women or speaking for women. And to the extent to which you think, in your experience, and this, whether or not women are truly leading and truly in charge, as opposed to being fronted by men. Is that, I'm assuming that's more or less your question, correct?
Yes, I think you are more correct. However, I was focused more on the issue that normally they deputize women and they claim to liberate them.
Claim. So to the extent to which what is happening is actually happening. In other words, the claims are real. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, my name is Warren McGregor. I'm from the Zabalaza Anarchist Communist Front here in South Africa, and also with the Global Labour University here at Wits. For those of us who live in South Africa, the concept of revolution has become extraordinarily shallow, and generally it's used as a slogan, usually for votes at election time. There's also very narrow conceptualizations of what revolution is. So many of us in our context have lost hope in the term and lost hope in the practice. So to hear you and to hear your inspirational story, I thank you very much for sharing it with us. I've got 2 very quick questions. The one has got to do with self-defense and how that is organized. There's a particular critique of democratic revolutions that you need the central state to be able to organize against counter-revolution. However, it is clear from your experience that you fought against counter-revolution, but organized your self-defense in a very different way. Could you please tell us a bit about that? I know we saw some pictures there as well. And then second question, there are not only South Africans in the room, but there are comrades who are trade unionists from around the world. We've got comrades from Peru, Nigeria, and India as well. From your particular perspective, what is the best way that we should be organizing international solidarity to be able to not only broadcast the revolution that's taking place, but most importantly as regards Kurdish people and people within the revolution that are taking part and organizing this revolution, how best can we support them from outside? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Number 3, I gave you the numbers, yeah.
Good evening. My name is Kay. Thank you so much, the panelists, for coming and sharing with us your life here. Well, I've got a lot of questions, but due to time constraints, during your presentation here, we get to all what you said, but we didn't hear you telling us about the latest developments in your country there. I understand, according to the latest information, there's a war which is looming between Turkey and Syria, to the extent that I think yesterday morning, 300 soldiers from Turkish side died. Can you perhaps talk to us exactly what does that affect your movements? Thank you.
Thank you. And there was number 4.
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Kenny Mabasa. Thank you for brilliant presentations. And I've got 2 questions really. Number 1, it relates to.
Right, just this is for recording, so please speak into the
Okay.
microphone.
Okay. Number 1, it related to women-centered kind of struggle, but also tied up with human mobility, including refugees in the area. Just to zoom in quickly on what so-called ISIS women. ISIS women, the 12,000, prisoners or whatever people call them. In your view, what do you think need to happen to those people? What's likely to happen to those people? Because ISIS women in the camp or in the prison, whatever they call it. Because I'm just worried about the humanitarian aspect of it. So I just needed to comment on that. But also quickly regarding the presence of the foreign powers in the region. You had recently, or a few days ago, the U.S. is signed a treaty with the Taliban in Afghanistan, and the reduction of foreign military presence in the region as well. But what does it mean to the Kurdish cause? What does it mean to your struggle? And quickly, lastly, Dr. McKinley, before you tell me to sit down, you spoke eloquently about the Kurds in Syria, a little bit of Turkey. Probably when you answer this question, you're going to elaborate a little bit. In Iraq as well. But I didn't hear anything about the Kurds in Iran, and I thought maybe you need to talk a little bit about how is their status there. Thank you.
Okay. Can we ask? I know that there's a lot of questions there. We tried to keep it fairly brief, and then because I think there might be a little bit more discussion. But I think you could sit. You don't have to come up. That's fine.
I think there is many points we're going to discuss, and there is many question mark everyone. When we're talking about women liberation, yeah, of course there is many women. There is many women organizations. They saying we are feminism, we working for a woman's. We don't say just we working for women. We working for build a society. We working to make life equality between man and woman. We working to educate this society, not just like a group. We working in all areas, not just in Rojava. We working. We working in same time with Arabs women and Assyrian women and many different women. And now we cross around the world too. After Turkey invasion in northern Syria, we started a company. That company
Sabotage.
It's your bike.
we started this company, Women Defense Rojava. And many women organizations in the world, they coming together. And we're going to hold a conference about women defense Rojava. And now in many countries in Europe and in Arabic countries, we try to building this unit between all women. And we always saying one woman is goes for all women, and pain of one woman is our pain. We're working like that. And the other thing we should to organize ourselves. Yeah, there is many, we have ideologies. We say this ideology is woman-free ideologies. We follow this ideology. Woman-free ideologies is cooperation systems, democratic nation. We're working on this. How I show the system working is to protect the woman to be liberation. We should to know very well our society. If we can't be liberate women, yes, of course. Because of that, first we try to understand the woman, not just woman body. Woman psychology, woman body. We are starting researching, and how we liberate and how we solve this. Because of that, we three woman ideologies, and three woman ideologies is ideologies for a democratic nation is same time. We're working like that, and I attend many conferences of women, many general international women say the Kurdish woman coming like sunlight for us. Yet I don't say that. That report says that. And how we organize ourselves like self-defense. Self-defense, before we starting defense our area, there was attack happened in what's name? In Mosul, in Shangal, in many different areas. When ISIS is coming, just everyone leave everything and running from that area. No anyone can stop. But when came to our area, before he's coming to our area, he entered Raqqa. And from Raqqa he told to come to Kobani. Maybe you have some ideas about the geography and city I'm talking. When they try to enter, of course, before that, we try to organize ourselves. When we started, we thought should be every person in this society know how to defend themselves. And we started, I told it, like opening academies. How they define, I showed the photo for women around 50, 60 years old. Some women maybe more. Maybe they can't go in front line, but they can protect the area they live in, the village they live in. We give it first a knowledge. We will live here and we will never live here. Any attack, how we protect ourselves and how to be free. We organize ourselves like that. Of course, it's not a huge number in Paris. It was a small number. Like in April, about 300-400 we educate, and in Jazeera, in Kobani. But when attack came, all young people, they feel they need to protect themselves and the areas they live in. And when we protect Kobani and GSP, and we try to help, in that time, the village city told of helping us to how to organize ourselves. When we liberate Victory Mintage, in that time there is many Arabs group came join our defense cell. We don't say army or different war. We say self-defense, self-defense. When we say army, is coming from the systems of state. We don't using that. Because of attack is coming to us, we protect ourselves, not for more different. And in that time, we make a many group. I don't like to make, longer. About ISIS women, yes, there is a number of women and children too. There is around more than 500 women and around 300 children. They living in one camp. They call it Rosh camp. This Rosh camp is big problem, not just for us, it's for many, because the identity of these women is not Syrian. There is from many different countries in the world, and we call it to all states, please come, bring your citizenships. Not anyone